Hey everyone, welcome back. For those of you who are new here, my name is Brittany. I'm a health coach and nutritionist, and my channel is all about helping you to create delicious low FODMAP meals to improve your digestive health. So if you're into it, subscribe for more low FODMAP recipe tutorials, as well as my tips and tricks for managing IBS and living a low FODMAP lifestyle. Okay, so today we are making corned beef, which is an Irish classic. It is a must-have in my house on St. Patrick's Day. My family loves it. We typically do more of like corned beef sandwiches, but I like to cook it with cabbage and carrots and everything to make it like a full-on like meat and veggies kind of meal too. So let's just get started. So today we're going to be using corned beef brisket, which is beef brisket that has been brined in salt. So it is very salty, but you'll see we're not going to use any additional salt in our dish. We're just going to be pulling the salt out of this brisket. I'm using one that's between 3 and 4 pounds today. That's what I would typically recommend. And we are going to be cooking it in the Instant Pot, but we are going to be using it on the slow cook setting. So you could use a regular slow cooker or crock pot, whatever you have. I prefer to slow cook it as opposed to pressure cooking it, just because I feel like time is the missing ingredient into like making a dish delicious. Like there's something about the time that it takes. That's what we're gonna be doing today. Okay, so today we're going to be using carrots and potatoes along with some cabbage, fresh dill, and thyme. So let's start by prepping our ingredients.
Okay, we're going to start by peeling 4 to 6 carrots and then cutting them in about thirds. Next, we're going to have 1.5 pounds of baby gold potatoes and set them aside along with our carrots. Next, we're going to chop up about 2/3 of a cup of leek leaves. Make sure to only use the green tips on the top. We're also going to be slicing up about 1/4 of a head of cabbage. If you have an older cabbage left over in the fridge, make sure you cut off any oxidized parts like I'm doing here. Next, we're going to thinly slice this up. Okay, now we're going to add our potatoes and carrots to the bottom of our pot. Get them good and mixed up in there. Add 2 tablespoons of garlic oil. Next, we're going to layer in some fresh herbs, which is a completely optional step, but I really like to do this because I feel like it takes the dish to the next level. Here I'm using fresh dill and thyme, which is my favorite combination for this recipe. Next, we're going to place in our corned beef brisket on top of our veggies, fat side up, so that the fat drips down through the meat, flavoring it, and then onto the vegetables. Also added the spice packet. Whoops, I forgot to add our leeks. So we're gonna throw those in. I am going to be using the spice pack that comes in with the corned beef today. This one is low FODMAP. I've read the ingredients and checked, but if you are unsure if your spice mix is not low FODMAP or not, you don't need to use it. Next, we're going to add extra spices. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of mustard seed, 1/2 teaspoon of coriander seed, 1/4 teaspoon of fennel seeds, 1/4 teaspoon of peppercorns, 1/8 teaspoon of crushed red pepper, 2 bay leaves that I'm going to crush up, and finally 1/2 teaspoon of dried dill. Next, we're going to add 8 cups of water. We're also going to be very careful to pour our water onto the sides of our brisket so that we don't disturb the nice like spice crust that we just created. This is going to allow the water to pull the salt out of the brisket and flavor our whole dish. Again, this is an optional step, but I am going to layer more fresh dill and thyme on top of this roast. Okay, now we're going to pop the lid on to our Instant Pot, set it on slow cook, and cook it for 6 hours. Okay, let's take a look. You see it's nice and fork tender. So now we're going to add about 3 cups of our cabbage, and we're going to turn our Instant Pot on to the saute setting and let that cook down for a few minutes. All right, now let's serve it up.
Oh, look at that.
One of the things I love about corned beef is just how tender it is. And that's really what you're gonna get from slow cooking it. Okay, now let's dish up the rest of our veggies. I feel like I really should have taken the time to separate them out and make it prettier, but whatever.
All right, guys, here we have our low FODMAP corned beef and cabbage with our potatoes and our carrots. You can serve it up like this, family style, which is great for St. Patrick's Day. Or you can do what my family likes to do and make sandwiches. Like, look how amazing this looks. It's just corned beef layered in there with mayonnaise, mustard, and dill. Oh, and pickles. Can't forget the pickles. So let's take a bite. So good. Yeah. I love corned beef like this, but when it's in a sandwich, I don't know. It feels like a completely different dish when you eat it this way versus this way. So I would really suggest making a little bit extra so you can have a couple of corned beef sandwiches during the week. It's so good. So traditionally, corned beef is made with like a ton of onions when you slow cook it. So that's why I like to add the leeks to this to kind of like give it more of that like oniony flavor. Same thing with the garlic oil. It helps you to get like a richer flavor. Same thing with adding the extra spices as opposed to just using the spice packet. I've tried it before with just the spice packet, and without onions, it's just not enough flavor. So I would really recommend doing it this way if you are on the low FODMAP diet. Eat this a little bit more. So one of the great things about these vegetables too is that the sweetness from the carrots is helping to balance out the saltiness of the beef. And then we have the bitterness of the cabbage, which kind of like gives it just like another level and like helping to balance out the sweetness too. This is just a well-balanced dish. You can really smell the fresh herbs, and I just love serving it with this like pickling spice crust on it. I think it looks so pretty. All right, guys, there you have it, low FODMAP corned beef. I hope you enjoy this for St. Patrick's Day. Let me know if you do. If you guys want to support my channel, go ahead and check out my Patreon. I'll link it down below. That way I can keep making low FODMAP recipe tutorials for you guys. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.